am going to be making chicken meringues today. So I just start out with really simple blob, just even pressure, make a little mound, ease off pressure towards the top and kind of do a flick to make it smooth. Then I like to add the little waddle. And the comb. Just 3 little dots on top of his head. And I just like to do as many details in the same color as possible before moving on to another color. Doesn't always work that way, just depending on the structure, but in this case, it works pretty well. So then I'll do the beaks, and for the beaks, I start off with firm pressure, and then I ease off almost completely and just kind of pull the meringue out into a point. Then move on to the eyes, which will just be simple dots with kind of a softer whipped meringue. So still kind of medium peaks, but just so that it's a little bit more liquid. Okay, easy enough. So this will probably be a pretty short stream this time because it's such a simple design. And the waddle is just kind of a teardrop shape. So I start with a little bit of pressure, increase pressure towards the bottom, and then pretty much ease off, and I just drag it upwards so that I get kind of a smooth shape there. And give a little comb. Nice little spheres. It's a great design for beginners because it's just a bunch of simple shapes put together. And another round of beaks. And these are going to be part of a 3-piece or a 3-design set of farm animal meringues. So today I'm doing chickens just to kind of start off the week nice and slow. And then tomorrow we'll do probably the most complex design, which will be Highland cows. And then I'll wind back down on Thursday and make piggy meringues. So it's a little bit in between these ones and cows. Not super complex, but not quite as simple. What's the shelf life of meringue, and for how long does it not expire for business purposes? And tell me about the packaging. So meringue has a really long shelf life. It's very shelf stable. So I have kept them in airtight containers for up to 3 months before they've still been crispy. I just visited my grandma and she has some from like a year ago that still seemed really crispy because she likes to take them out and just look at them. It's too cute to eat. I would say if you're putting them in something like a deli container, like I'm using one that seals really, really tight, you can get them to last quite a long time. You can put them in normal airtight food storage containers, but I find if they don't seal really tight, which a lot of mine don't, they'll maybe last a few weeks to a month, just depending on the humidity in your area. So for reference, where I live in Montana, it's really dry, so the humidity doesn't usually go over 45%. When it starts going over that, storage becomes challenging no matter what. So I will usually make a batch like this and put it in my food storage containers for kind of short-term holding. I might put a little reusable desiccant packet to help absorb some of the moisture in the air. But then within about no more than a week, I'll package them in their sets of deli containers for long term and for sale. And freezing them will actually help keep them dry. So if you need them stored longer, you can freeze them. And then the one thing I always mention with that is that when you take them out of the freezer, don't open the container. Let it come to room temperature first so that the condensation has time to evaporate before you open it. 'Cause condensation will make these sticky. Oh no. There we go. I think we kind of saved it. That one might be sample quality. right, I'm gonna go get another tray. This one's full, and I'll be right back. Speeding through these this morning. Go. It's been kind of a rainy week so far where I live, which could be a little bit of a problem for meringues once I start packaging them. I do have a dehumidifier I can dig out of the garage, and that actually does help keep my kitchen very dry so that there is no stickiness. It's not such a problem when mixing and piping the meringue. I think moisture is probably honestly better for that part. But after they're baked, humidity in the air can make them sticky, so they start sticking to your disposable gloves, to each other. So a lot of people will avoid making meringues on rainy days because it just makes it tricky. So luckily my kitchen stays pretty dry even when it is rainy and it's not like pouring out there. So I think those will be okay, but one trick I've found if they do start getting as sticky is to put them in the freezer right away, like stop touching them because they will just be sticking to you and everything else. Put them in an airtight container in the freezer and just kind of let them dry out in there. Doesn't always work, but that has saved me in a pinch a few times. And then you just want to make sure that when you take them out of the freezer, you put them at room temperature, you leave the airtight container sealed until they fully come back to room temperature, and then you can open them again. And that's how you can avoid condensation in the thawing process from making them sticky. I also really like to use reusable desiccant packets when I'm storing them short term, like when I'm working on a set like these of chickens, pigs, and cows, and it's going to take me a couple days to make all 3 designs. I'll put them in food storage containers with those little desiccant packets to just make sure any extra moisture gets absorbed. And then once I package them in really, really tight sealing deli containers, they'll last for months and months and months. I've only kept mine for up to 3 months, but I have family members who've kept them maybe up to a year and they're still crispy. So I think it depends on how long you go without opening them, how frequently you open them, and how humid your home is. As tricky as humidity can be when working with meringue, I love the rain. Doesn't happen that much in Montana, and it's kind of that time of year where it's raining and storming, so we get some cool thunderstorms, lightning storms. And I love storms. They make me really cozy. I don't like being outside when it's storming. You never know what's going to happen, but super comfy to be indoors and baking while you can hear thunder outside. The rain's brought a lot of these little tiny black birds with yellow beaks to my front yard. And the cat's loving that. She just is sitting in the windowsill, tail's going crazy. She likes watching birds. Hoping it doesn't rain too much during the farmer's market this Saturday, though. It makes it harder to give out meringue samples because they do get so sticky. And then it just makes everything a little less fun to pack back up once, like the tent and stuff, folding it up and putting it in its little rolly pouch thing. One of my first markets, we had a huge downpour, and the water was actually building up around people's boxes and stuff like that, coolers they brought for storage. So it was coming down so fast that it wasn't going down the drains on the sidewalk as fast as it needed to, and it was quite a bit of water. The folks next to us were selling tortillas. They had them all in cardboard boxes, and we were trying to hoist them up on some of our coolers and stuff so that they didn't get all destroyed and wet. Unfortunately, I think there was wind too, and some of the vendors lost a lot of product because their tents and their products would kind of blow away. Some of it was glassware, and that was a real bummer. It always hurts your heart to see other vendors lose product like that. And I didn't lose any just because mine is so easy to pack up and protect because I have coolers with me. So really I can put most of my products in bins and coolers. All the things I pack them in with, and that protects them from the rain. That's one thing I like about selling food at farmers markets is quick setup, quick tear down, and then most of your product gets sold, so you really don't come home with that much. Whereas like some of the people who sell crafts and clothing and all that stuff, candles, whatever else, artwork, takes them a long time to set up, a long time to tear down, and their stuff's fragile, so if you get kiddos or dogs kind of falling into your goods, then that can make it tricky. So I like selling food at farmers markets. I took the last market off so I could spend time with my mom and my grandma on Mother's Day, and it was nice because when I take a week off, I get to catch up and kind of work ahead, prepare more macarons and meringues, and it's not as much of a quick turnaround as going every week. That said, it wasn't much of a break because I've been baking pretty much every day all day since then. So last week and this week. But sometimes that's what you need to keep up with demand. So this week, my market theme is going to be kind of picnic, spring, garden theme. So last week I streamed snail, frog, squirrel, and honeybee meringues. And I made some off stream yesterday that are little mushrooms, red with white spots. And so I'm going to put those in little 10-piece containers together, little variety tubs. Of course, these little farm animals, because these honestly are one of the best sellers. People just love farm animals. And then to continue with the picnic theme, I'm going to make some strawberry chiffon cake. So chiffon cake with strawberry jam and kind of a whipped cream frosting in the middle. And I'm going to make them look like Japanese sandos, like fruit sando. And then package them in those little triangular sandwich boxes, like the plastic clamshell ones. And then I'm also going to make some shortbread cookies shaped like French fries and package them in little French fry containers. So that'll be kind of a sandwich and fries theme with the cake, all dessert of course. And usually I have a little bit of extra frosting like buttercream or ganache from making macarons. And I thought a fun way to use that and not waste any of it would be to put them in these little tiny sample solo cups and make them like kind of like ketchup, little dips for the cookie fries. So that'll be fun. I hope people like those. People have really been liking cake when I bring it lately. So hopefully they like the shortbread cookie fries and dips too, kind of like Dunkaroos. number 2 is almost done. So I am going to go swap this out for a new tray. I'll be back. Alright, fresh tray. this tray away and get another tray out. Yeah, I wish I could ship too. It sounds like a really cute gift idea. I think it's only a matter of time before Montana catches up with some of the other states. Like in Oregon, their cottage food laws allow them to ship in and out of state. And the cottage food laws everywhere keep getting a little bit more developed each year, so fingers crossed I can ship them someday. this will be the last row. And then I'm going to put them all in my food dehydrator and bake them for 3 hours at 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Then I'll let them cool completely and put them in airtight containers till I'm ready to package them into their sets. So thank you all for joining me today. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing Highland Cow meringues the same time, 11 a.m. MST, and I hope to see you there. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.